those claims of efficiency are somehow built into fee structures or expectations of actual performance of the building, or if it was just an estimate. Would anyone be here to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that question. You know, as I said, the project for ourselves was procured in 2012. Again, in Ireland, it was probably at the height of the economic recession. We had an aspiration of BIM on the project. So, you know, scoping out very clearly what each individual design team member was to do was critical. Even when we started developing up our standards, again, there was some resistance within the overall team in terms of, you know, what standard we set and how we were going to go about achieving that, particularly, you know, as it interacted with the original service agreements. From a sustainability point of view, you know, the service engineers, the energy engineers, that was just, you know, they were going to deliver that in any respect. You know, it's a highly complex building. It's large scale construction. So in terms of IES modelling, energy modelling, it was nothing different that we were asking the consultants to do. The only addition was that we were feeding in from an architectural practice. We were feeding into that process. And again, you know, when we did it correctly, it worked quite well, and it made us more efficient. And the key was to understand the level of development in terms of the modelling. We weren't given the structural engineers very detailed models, and which you know would reduce the amount of time in terms of the modelling efficiencies.
Okay, thanks. A question from back in the back.
Yeah, I'm actually asking. Roland Collins is watching this live in Hong Kong at the moment, so I've just been asked to ask a question. First thing, Bill, he said to shout for Sligo instead of Dublin, so just to let you know. He said the questions for RPS. Did they use UAVs on the project, or do they see a benefit in using drones for monitoring site progress week by week or month by month using photogrammetry?
Yeah. Thanks. We didn't use drones. We did use point cloud survey, but there are some restrictions in relation to drones in certain areas, both here now and in the UK. So the answer is no, not on this particular project. But we do see the advantages of it.
Who has the next question? Please.
Sure. So my question is to Mark. Mark, the whole life cycle costing. How did that affect the project? Did that drive the use of BIM, and if you didn't have it, would it have changed something?
I suppose what we set out to achieve back in 2014 in relation to what we wanted out of this approach in the absence of the EIR and all of those things was to look at the practical elements of delivery through a BIM environment. You know, did we achieve everything we needed to in terms of 4 and 5D scheduling through this project? I would say we achieved some of them, but we spent a lot more time in terms of the collaboration, the stakeholder engagement, the training. Those type of activities is what we spent a lot more of our time on this particular project.
So the whole life cycle costing didn't really change any of that, or?
Did it change it? Like it how do we engage with O&M? We had one slide up there in terms of how we engage with them in terms of doing sensible things through our design, for example. Other things we did, we brought we had our lighting model, for example. Our lighting modelers engaged through, you know, applying certain types of lighting and showing that we could achieve savings if we change from this type of bulb to that type of bulb. And again, we discussed there was some resistance, but we did manage to change the lighting on Rate Junction based on showing that it would achieve savings over the project.
We have maybe 2 more questions. Okay, over there. See, that side of the room wasn't paying attention. I knew that.
Hi, how you doing? My question is both for Mark Costello and for Cathal Rigney, and it's to do with the EIR that you developed yourselves and what sort of process you had to go to achieve that. Was it drafted within the company yourselves? Did you draft it in conjunction with the clients, or was it outsourced? And what was the sort of process for that? Did you notice there was any sort of benefits to drafting your own EIR?
Can I go first? I suppose what we did was we got together initially as the consortium, so for OVLAG and AME RPS together. So we called it a joint proposal to replace the absence of an EIR or putting in place a respective EIR. We went and we met with Transport Scotland. We presented to them what we were going to do. They were happy that we were doing this, but I suppose the contract was progressing in the traditional sense. But we have passed on those lessons learned that we have in terms of developing that ER, our response to that in terms of our BEP, and we've passed that over to Transport Scotland, and it's now also been documented in terms of the Pathfinder.
All right, and do you think in future then, in future projects, that you'll always specify an EIR from now on? Do you think it's sort of a key?
It's in everyone's interest. Like we often say to our clients, we don't see any benefit. It's a very uncomfortable place for a client to be if we are developing their EIR. So, worse, yes, we pushing it in terms of if you don't have an EIR, we want to generate one or work with the client to create it. The best scenario is to receive that and to engage and to reply, and in terms of pre and post BIM requirements, and that type of thing. But we have to remember we're back in 2014. A lot of people were talking about getting ready for the mandate in 2016. I remember on one project last year in the UK, we were asked to comply to a level 2 standard. I asked during the tender stage, could I have the accompanying EIR? I was asked what was that? So there's different levels of what that is, but ultimately it's about engaging with people at all stages, the client and everyone else, and working through that. One of the key things we did do, just in terms of the EIR and to follow on from that, is that we brought in various suppliers at various stages into our weekly and monthly BIM meetings, and we worked with them in terms of what they would need to do or put in place to achieve what we were going to do through our execution plan to meet our joint BIM proposal or our EIR requirements. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Cathal, I'm not giving you much chance.
Right. Yeah. I think our story is very similar. I think the BIM mandate or requirement for us was driven by BAM, who are the design build contractor, who prepared the EIR, and with them we input into the BIM execution plan that they produced for the project. And the project wasn't a BIM mandated project from the ultimate client, St James's Hospital. It was a decision by the design build contractor, and we had to generate with them the information required to comply with PAS 1192.
Right. So your point was, it was a D&B you said there?
Yes, yeah, it was a design build contract.
Okay, so join me in thanking the panelists. And,